What's up guys? So today I'm gonna be diagnosing my crank no start issue on my 944. Unfortunately, it had to happen here at college instead of like at home, and it happened like the third drive. I took it on 3 drives and it just happened to stop out of nowhere. This is where it's been sitting for the past forever, and this is where I've been working on it at. So this is my little workspace, if you want to call it that. I hope people don't get too angry that my car has been sitting in the same spot, stealing a parking spot for this long. So it's kind of funny because I went to college and I didn't expect to be making a video, especially with how much I've done to it. I feel like it should be a little bit more reliable, but as you guys saw, I'm kind of running into a little bit of a crank no start condition. I don't think it has anything to do with these fuel lines, but I think I'll crack them tomorrow. But I really don't know. The tech isn't bouncing at all anymore, and that's definitely something that I've noticed. So it might be a speed and reference sensor, and those are cheap and easy to do, so that is something I can actually do here. I don't want to start throwing parts at it unless I know it's that for sure. So I'm gonna do some diagnostics, open the distributor, make sure the rotor screw didn't fall out, because that's definitely a possibility. But the weird thing is, it just kind of happened out of nowhere. Like it was running perfectly fine. I parked it, and I guarantee if I tried to turn it on right after that, it would have turned back on. But I don't know. We'll just have to see on this journey. Thank you for being here. So my first thought was it was the fuel pump. So I cranked over the engine while having a camera in the back of the car so I could see if I could hear the fuel pump. So then after I checked the fuel pump, my next idea was to charge the battery, because it did seem like it was cranking pretty slow, especially the first time I started cranking it. It was like warp, 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 warp. So it really didn't feel like it had anything in it. I was like, oh yeah, the battery just died. It sat for a little bit. So I had my girlfriend jump the car. I had her try to push start the car, which I wish I had a video of because that was pretty funny. None of those worked, so I was like, okay, I don't think it's the battery, but I did get a battery charge for my home, and then I charged the battery. So let's see if she starts now. See if she lives. Oh, that is bad. That is, it's kind of bad. What? Really? Dude, I am just bewildered out of my mind right now. Okay, I might have a lead, but I could just be tweaking. So let me show you something. So in older videos, look at the miles per gallon gauge. So when I start the car, this is like forever ago when the car was still misfiring. The car didn't even start there. But you notice the miles per gallon gauge moved up. And I know that it's not just the tachometer because this is a video of it starting previously. And sometimes I have to slap the dashboard in to get it to work. And you can see in the new video, it doesn't move at all. So I'm wondering if that's related, but I know how to check for sure tomorrow. I'm gonna disconnect the fuel line and see if that does anything. It's really nice because it gives me some content, so you guys don't have to sit in dry content, because I know you guys are just so eager to see what's going on with this car. So this is me cracking the fuel rail. I'm with my boy Cameron. He's there watching the fuel rail while I crank it, and he's gonna see if fuel comes out. You good? Yeah. Okay, so what we're doing right now, I cracked the fuel rail, and he's gonna tell me if any fuel comes out. All right, ready? A lot? Let me see. Is it doing it now still, or is it just when I turn it over?
Just when you were turning over, but you can look and see.
Yeah.
That's wet right here if you look.
Yeah, it's a little bit green too. So I also checked the rotor to make sure the rotor was in place, because I imagine that the screw could have popped out of place and then caused a no spark issue, but we checked it and it is still in there, so we're good. So now that we know that it has fuel pressure, we can kind of rule out the fuel system as being the cause for the not start condition. Or does it? So what I was thinking about is the fact that the DME does not control the spark. The spark is simply controlled by the ignition coil and the distributor and rotor. And newer cars, I think it controls spark, but literally right now what controls spark is just the rotor hitting the contacts per timing. So what the DME does control though is the injectors. And something that I've noticed when I start the car that I mentioned before is the MPG gauge. It's supposed to move when I start the car because it shows that the injectors are firing. But right now the injectors are not firing. What I've noticed is that it can be caused by these speed and reference sensors that go out, which not only makes me connect the MPG and the speed and reference sensors together, but enforces the idea that the speed and reference sensors are the issue. So the DME sends a signal to the injectors to fire based on only if the speed and reference sensors are at the right timing. The injectors are directly connected to the DME, but I'm assuming that the injectors only know timing because of those sensors. So if a sensor goes bad, the injectors would not fire, and there would be no showing on the MPG gauge. And because of the fact that we have fuel pressure and the MPG gauge is not working, that shows me that there's not an issue with fueling, that there's an issue with a sensor that is telling the injectors not to fire. And I might as well replace both of those speed and reference sensors because I think it's like 60 bucks and it's an easy process. Why did I say it was an easy process? Why did I say it was an easy process? You best believe I got one of these pivot joints for this job. The part came in, I got it. This is what it looks like. So these are the new ones. They have a magnetic sensor, I believe, because there's no like optical sensor. There's two different types. There's optical and magnetic, and optical has a little camera. This is just magnetic. I believe both of mine are the original that came with the car because they still have the BG sticker on it, or DG, and that means that they came from Germany in the factory. So that means they are as old as the car, which is almost 40 years old. So I think I will go ahead and replace both of them because this came in a 2-pack anyway, and they are the same part number. I just have to make sure not to mess up the electrical connections, which that's easy to do. Just remember that. So let's get started. So it's looking like this top connector plugs into the one closer to the firewall, or technically the top one. So I just have to get the top one out. Getting these electrical connectors are good because I need to get my hand down there to like take the rest of the bolt out because I do not want to drop it down there. So I'm gonna go get these electrical connections off real quick. Battery's already been disconnected, by the way. Well, that's interesting. Broke off inside of the connector, so let me get that out real quick. And I got enough room to pull it out, and I just banged it upside down until it came out. So it is wild because the one on the bottom did the exact same thing. So I think it just needs to have the clip completely disconnected because that little metal thing holds onto it. It's wild, bro. Wild, I'll tell you. Big the E36, by the way. Now I just have to move these cables out of the way so I can disconnect these. Okay, so I got that bolt off of that one. It seemed like it had like red thread locker on the end of it. Yeah, I'm just gonna replace this one and then do that one later. But first, to do this one, I have to get it out, and it is not seeming like it's gonna want to budge. So I'm gonna try my best just to manhandle it, but we'll just have to see how it comes out. So I've got a little bit of a contraption. It'll press against it, and it'll probably turn it. So while I do that, I'm gonna put you guys on watch. That's not gonna do anything. Maybe if I get a socket on it? Round 2. Twisting at all? Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Well, one less thing to hold on to the surface, I guess. Oh, jeez. The back end, that should have a little bit more rigidity. So it is really, really, really stuck in there. People say just try to get it to budge, and I especially don't even have the tools to do that. Like, I don't even have pliers I can use to like grab it. I think I'm just gonna keep soaking it in PB Blaster. That takes time. It's just gonna be annoying to keep coming back here and PB blasting it, trying to move it. I might call my friend who has a trailer to bring it home. I do want to thank everybody who's been in the comments helping me out though. Pretty much in every video, there's countless people who are just telling me what's wrong and helping me out with the issue, just talking with me about it. So I do want to send a big thank you to all those guys who are sending comments like these, because these are super helpful, especially when I don't have time to think about my car. It is helpful to have people who can pretty much just figure it out for me. So I do want to send a thank you to those guys. It is so stupid. I'm literally sitting in this car and I was thinking I was literally just driving it. I was like, all it did is just stopped working one day on campus. If it is the speed and reference sensors, then it's just completely unrelated with coming to campus. It just decided to happen at campus. Good thing I have another car here. If I didn't have another car here, I would not have brought this car here. So it's been a couple days, probably like almost a week and a half. I went home, got some extra stuff. I haven't really had time to do anything with it, but now I kind of have a good idea. Kind of got the pry bar hooked under it, and all I have to do is just be able to pull up. If that doesn't work, my plan is to remove the bracket and just start from square one, because it's really not that hard. But that also requires me breaking the bracket apart. Either way, I have solutions, and I think I can do it here at college. So it's safe to say prying is not gonna work. There is a plus side though, because if you look at it, that one right there, I don't know if you can see it, that is the one that's hard to take out. But now, since that cable's out of the way, I have more room. So I think I'm able to just pop the bracket out easier. Of course, I'll have to break off the sleeve on the bolt's end right there. Other than that, the bracket can come out pretty easily, I'd assume. But that's what I said about the sensor, so we'll just have to see about that. Also, have it memorized. So this was the top one, this is the bottom one. You can tell because this one's behind the cable and the other one is not. I'm gonna try to remove some of the bracket. Maybe not take it out completely, but at least try to crack the bolts off of it. So I was able to use a flat-headed hammer and I just smacked it off. So now I have a lot better room and access to get that bolt down there off. After many hours of minutes of trial and error, I got the bit in there. So now I just need to put my little swivel head on it because the ratchet won't fit there. Maybe I have to go from under the car or something, I don't know. Holy crap, guys. Look at that contraption. Now I just need to somehow get enough torque to break that bolt loose. Guys, look. Oh man, I broke it loose. You can't tell because the wrench fell, but I broke it loose, I promise. Look at that, I got it out. We're moving forward, I already bought the gapping tool, it's coming in the mail. I'm talking to people on 944 parts just to get the bracket. I would say something else. I put a towel down there to block that bolt from falling out, and now I just have to figure out how to get that bolt out. It's kind of at a tight angle, but it should be easier than the last one, so let's get to it. Guys, I'm gonna be here for a while. I got that John out. So I've been able to push it away enough to find that sleeve. And I think the sleeve is pretty long, so I don't think there's any chance of me pulling this one out like it is now. So I just need to end up smashing that sleeve off with a flathead. Now at this point, guys, I was getting too busy with stuff like homework, projects, tests, concerts. And the weather was just about to start getting cold, so I texted my mom in defeat. But right after sending that text, I had about an hour before I had to do some esports stuff, which yes, I'm in the esports, I know. But yeah, I had about an hour of time, so I wanted to go and try something real quick. So I just need to smash that sleeve. There's no tomorrow. It looks freaking close, but that's the thing. Oh, did it do something? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh, I didn't mean to break it. Dude, I freaking got it. I think it just popped out. It didn't even break, it just popped right out. Oh my gosh. Now I just need to, well, I also can just remove this one. I'm pretty sure this is what Porsche dealerships use, so I don't care. Yeah, these look gunked up pretty bad. I think I just got it to pop out. Wait, no, because this is supposed to be in? I think I pushed it out, actually. I pushed the bracket, or the pin slide pin. And now I just need to smack them out and then put I should have brought my towel, bro, dang it. Holy, ew, now I have nowhere to wipe this except the grass. So looking at them, they don't really look bad, but I don't think there's, I mean, this one looks pretty bad on the inside. There's like a lot of gunk buildup, but at the end of the day, I'm not really sure if there's something that would tell you that they're bad, especially if they're magnetic. I think it's just the fact that they were 40 years old, like these were the original ones. They still have the tape on them. Before I buy a new one, I'm gonna soak these sensors in PB Blast and then try to mount them out, but worst case scenario, I know where you get a new bracket. And then when I get a new bracket, I can put the gapping tool. I can put that in, set it, and then put the new sensors in, and then we're good to test. We're good to test, not good to go, because we still don't know if this is even the solution or not. So I smacked it with a hammer, and I actually got the sensor to come out a little bit. And as you see, the bracket broke off, and I think it's still salvageable. Like, that was the Porsche dealer part that you didn't really need, but honestly, I'm just using this as a sign to buy a new bracket, and I think I can reuse the sleeve because there's a couple that I know that have bracket, but they are gonna get rid of the sleeve because they broke it off. So I can probably try to reuse this, but we'll just see. So the new bracket came. I already pre-installed the thing, which I think I'll have to remove anyway because the sleeve, which it did not come with the sleeve, I had to pound it out of my old one and put it in the new one, but it is all installed good. A funny thing that's like an extra slap to the face is the fact that this sensor that doesn't matter, like the Porsche dealership sensor that you can remove because they don't use it, this one came out perfectly fine. Like it didn't get stuck, and it's like it wiggled out and just pulled straight out. So I don't have much time, but I'm gonna try to get the bracket at least inside of the car now. It's interesting because the spacer isn't spaced by the length of it, but it's rather the threads. Like there's threads inside of the orange thing, and when they catch, they make a perfect like 8mm gap right there, it seems. If I try to push it flat to the surface, it just kind of like separates itself. So that's kind of interesting. So I got the bracket in. I have that bolt tightened decently, but not all the way, so it has enough movement to move up and down. And I'm about to install the gapping tool on the D bracket. Okay, so the gapping tool should be in there good. All I need to do to gap it now is just, there we go. This should be the new sensors installed. Tighten them down, tighten down all the bolts that hold it in. So I'm gonna remove the towel and try to crank the engine. Or maybe I'll keep the towel there in case I have to redo it, and see if it has any issues hitting with anything. Is that it rubbing against it? Yeah, so I do see a little bit of scratching here. So either it just wasn't gapped right, which is weird. I don't know. I'm just gonna loosen the pivot bolts and lift it just a hair, which I think I'll have to loosen both of those bolts. So
I'll get on it. So I moved it up a hair, and I'm gonna tighten this down and see if it makes noise. It doesn't make noise right now, and I don't think tightening the bolt really pushes it that much further down, so we'll see how this looks now. I tightened down the bolt on the sensor, and now it is scraping. Definitely weird, especially because I lifted it. It almost sounds more prominent than last time too. Let me loosen the bolt a bit, maybe. I loosened it by like 3 tiny turns, and it's not making a noise anymore. So that is really weird. I guess it does come down to the millimeters. Then how am I gonna measure that for the other sensor? I don't know, dude. So I'm gonna crank it a little bit, and if I hear anything crazy, I'm gonna like stop. I'm gonna do like incremental cranks. That is if the car will even crank. All right, let's see how much of a crank we get. Let me roll the windows down.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god!